Mhm. There we go. Okay, in this video, I hope to take us through a little bit of strategies for how to do paraphrasing. So we're going to talk about these different things that we can do in order to paraphrase to make it clearer for us. I want us to talk first about why we are even doing paraphrasing. So APA, that rule that tells us we have to cite where sources come from, actually gives us rules about what we should quote and what we shouldn't. And really, they want us to avoid quoting as much as possible. We should be paraphrasing information, and we should be paraphrasing it well, not just by using substitutes or by getting rid of some words, but by doing good paraphrasing, by putting it into our own words. This is a rule that APA says. Why? Well, because it's good writing to keep the flow between different sources and our own words. We want it to match the style of what we're talking about. And we want the information that we are sharing to match our own context. So by paraphrasing it and putting it into our own words, it's more likely to match. And also, it shows that we read and can use others' information and that we are part of the conversation, the academic conversation, that we read research and we produce research. And even if you feel like you're at the beginning of that journey, that is you. You are a member of this academic writing community. So when we talk about paraphrasing, a lot of times we say, okay, just take the info, just take the idea and put it into your own words. Just like read it and then put it away. And then, pretend like you're telling a friend about this article you read and write it down. And sometimes we can do that. And like, okay, I read this article and I want to say da da da. Or I read this paragraph and the important point is this, so I can say that in my own words. But sometimes that's a challenge, particularly with the kind of medical or detailed topics that you guys are writing about. And so I want to talk about those kind of places where it's a challenge. And I'm going to do some practice. If you want to work through some of the practice with me or with a specialist in the Writing Center, please let us know. We'd be happy to do some paraphrasing practice with you. So we're going to talk tonight about these 6 different ways that you can change your sentence or change the wording. And the more of these strategies you use, the better it will be. So let's talk about them. I have this sentence. Healthcare in the United States is financed through federal, state, and local government and private insurance. I have it cited from Community Catalyst. This is the website, but you can see I have already paraphrased this from what was there. So I want us to look at some different examples. How could I say this in a different way? So I want to be able to think about these different strategies that I'm going to use, and I'm going to try and use all of them within the examples. So I've got 3 we're going to look at. Ooh. Uh-oh, I think I've got 3 we're going to look at. Let's try. They disappeared. Give me a second. I will fix it. Okay. Slowly but surely. Come on. Okay. So now I'm looking at my draft version of it. but this will work great. We're going to do it here. Let me make this a little bigger, and I'll zoom in so we can work one by one. Okay, we're good. So let's look at this first one. In this first one, we see the phrasing is entirely different. The cost of medical care in America is covered by different sources. Insurance from private companies covers parts of it, and then taxes at the city, state, and national level cover the rest. This is the same idea, right? But worded different. Let's look at another. In the US, the government and private companies share the cost of healthcare. Again, same idea, but different words. And lastly, a complex mixture of public payers at all levels of government, as well as private insurance and individuals, finance the expenses associated with US healthcare. Okay, we've got these 4 different ways that I have written this one sentence. And I've done this to show us that we can do a bunch of different things in order to make that those distinctions clear. I'm going to underline with this one, I think. The first thing is to ID the parts of the sentence. So if I'm thinking to strategize how I'm going to paraphrase it, I want to chunk my sentence and maybe not think of it as like all different ideas. So I've got healthcare, okay, in the United States is financed through this and this. And oh, my lines are very messy, but you get the idea. If I look, I can see, okay, those are the things that I can combine or divide. We can see in this example that I've split it here. This one, no split. This one, no split into a sentence. So I've got one where I've split it into 2. Now we've got different ways of organizing. We want to look at being able to change the order of things. If I think about healthcare in this first one, we see I have moved something to the first part in all of the other examples. We see here, I went with the US first. I started there. I thought, okay, well, if I'm not going to start with the US, maybe I can start with financing a cost. Or maybe I can start with this one, with a complex mixture of public. So I want to think about different ways to start and ways to move the sentence around. I can think about changing the parts of speech. I can look at, okay, the cost instead of financed, noun, verb. I can also think of changing it to be saying that they are the payers and they finance it. I can change the verb to be an active verb, is financed. I can change it to active. I can think about changing other things as well. And then my last strategy is to use synonyms. Although synonyms are often the first way we think of changing a sentence or paraphrasing it, okay, I know different words to mean this. That I suggest you think about last. Think about how you can change the sentence around and do all of these other things before getting to the sentence. As you change the parts of speech and the verbs, then you can think about, okay, what are different words or different phrases that have the similar When you come work with us in the Writing Center, we will happily think of many ways and give you these strategies. If you find this resource on My Nightingale, then scroll down and see some other ideas to practice with. And we have ideas about how to change these. You can come work on these with us in the Writing Center or work on them individually as you continue to improve your own paraphrasing strategies. Thank you for watching this webinar. I look forward to working with you more in the Writing Center.